The ODI series finished on a high for Sri Lanka, and we now move on to the T20 series. We are back here at Timeout with Sports Adda. Well, Arun, encouraging win for the Sri Lankan team. Finally, they beat India in a ODI. And moving into the T20 series, it's a very encouraging sign for the coach and the team, right? Who've had like so many tough matches.
The one thing I liked there, you mentioned the coach, Mickey Arthur. He was smiling, he was beaming like you are now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for them, I can imagine, I mean, I've been a part of a team, Arun, where we've lost 12 matches out of 14 matches that we played in a season. So by the time you enter the last match, the second last match, the players don't want to go and compete. The coach wants to go home. You're like, it's a depressing way to be part of a team which is losing so much. You carry that whole mindset into everything that you do. So in a way, it's good that the team is winning and the coach who's put in so much effort is getting some recognition. I mean, I'm a cricket fan, so I want to see a good competition. But I mean, the T20 format, the team should be a little more closer, right, going into the series.
That's what people believe, that shorter the formats, the more competitive the games will be. But I'm not sure that will hold good in this case, Akhil. I think the Indian squad, the Indian players are vastly superior because they play in the IPL. They play against the world's best, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure this Sri Lankan squad is exposed to that kind of competition, that kind of quality. So I think you will find that there's a bit of gap between the two, but it should be better than what we saw in the one-day series.
Well, I'm hopeful why this Sri Lankan team might do better, Arun, is there are two things. First is the Indian players have not seen too much of the Sri Lankan players. I mean, they've seen them in the ODI, but we saw a glimpse of what Karunaratne can do. We saw a glimpse of what Fernando could do in the power play yesterday. Rajapakse came coming in and he showed that he could hit some lusty blows. Plus the quick bowler Chamira was good, Hasaranga was good. So there are like a few quality players, and they hopefully they play without a fear, Arun, where they would want to impress the bosses in the IPL, show them that they are worth of being picked maybe for big money. So I mean, this is a good chance for the Sri Lankan guys to go aggressive, rattle the Indian openers at the top, get Shikhar Dhawan, get Prithvi Shaw out early, and then make the match more competitive. So I'm hopeful.
A couple of the guys caught the eye in the one-day series, didn't they? Like you mentioned, Chamika Karunaratne was good. I thought he stood out for me. Yeah. I thought he kind of established himself as one for the future. So I'm looking forward to him. Fernando, like you mentioned, Manindo Hasaranga, my favorites, always there. So yeah, they've got a bit of quality, but I don't know. Like I mentioned earlier, the gap between the two teams is vast, and that could be the deciding factor.
Right? The stats do show that, correct? Like the gap between what we've played versus Lanka over the last few years, massive, huge win percentage for India there.
I mean, look at the head-to-head, Akhil, in recent times. I didn't believe for a second that it was so lopsided. If you can bring up the numbers, look at the overall numbers itself. Ignore the column on the right for a second, but look at the overall record itself. It's 5-13 in favor of India, 13-5 in favor of India. But since Feb 2016, it's 10-1. That's how dominant India have been. I mean, we spoke about India having not lost a one-day series against Sri Lanka since 97, right? But look at these numbers.
Interesting.
I mean, it's not just 50 over cricket, it's 20 over cricket too.
Interesting here, Arun, is what I noticed the first thing. I mean, they've won 5 games. But if my memory serves me right, they've won the most important game that these two players have played in the T20 format. And if they can win those finals, I think they'll be happier and not look at this kind of records. But you're right. I mean, it's been a one-way street in T20 cricket largely over the last 5 years.
We always thought that India Sri Lanka would be competitive. But the numbers just point to a completely different story. I mean, there were moments when you had Sangha, Mahela, Murli, Rangana, Herat, and all of them. Aravinda before that, Ranatunga. But the results don't really reflect that, do they?
Yeah. I'm really hopeful that more and more Sri Lankan players get access to come and play the Indian league. It's just the exposure that these younger players will get. I think it will be helpful for overall ecosystem, and it's useful. You know, Arun, I used to have one player in my team who used to come from Sri Lanka, and he was such a easy boy to work with, very very hard working, very interested. Used to and I used to talk a lot of cricket with him at that time. He was into cricket. He used to follow, and there used to be a normal ribbing, and at that time he was very proud of the Indian of their national team. So they still have a lot of proud cricket fans who want their team to do well.
You hit the nail on the head. Sri Lankans are proud people, Akhil, especially when it comes to cricket. They're passionate fans. Their number could be dwindling, their number could be shrinking because of the results, but they're still proud people. They enjoy their cricket. They talk to you. They're friendly. Never want to turn their back or turn their face and walk away if you're talking cricket, if you're ribbing them, like you mentioned. They will still talk to you.
Absolutely.
And that's what I like about that country.
Correct, and I'm sure they must have got used to a lot of ribbing, right? Like Sri Lanka's results in T20 cricket, forget against India, but overall in T20, oh my God, not too much success that they've seen in the last 3 years now.
No, Akhil. I mean, like I said, we look at the results in the last year or last 6 months and say Sri Lanka haven't been competitive, but these numbers tell you that it goes further back than just the last 3 months, the last 6 months with all these contract issues, etc.
And these are all top teams I see they've played against, Arun, interestingly.
Correct, yeah. It's been a disappointing run for Sri Lanka, and I think like we spoke about during the one day, the chance is now for the youngsters to put their hands up and say, I'm here for the future.
Interesting. Well, Sri Lanka are addressing their problems, but the Indian team suddenly looks like a veteran of T20 cricket, isn't it? We've seen all the players; they are all pros of their own IPL teams. They are the stars of their IPL teams. They get to bat at a position where they are accustomed to their most of them top of the order.
I know where you're getting to.
Yes. So why don't we discuss that?
So the question we asked is, who should open for India at the T20 World Cup? That's where you're getting to, right?
That's what I'm getting to, Arun. Yes. So we have seen like a lot of success for the Indian batsmen right at the top of the order. So it looks like we are spoiled for riches. And this poll that we did, wow. So Rohit and Dhawan is the choice for a lot of people, Arun.
Yeah. Although I have to say my vote went for KL Rahul and Rohit. I'm one of those 34.4% people who voted for that combination.
Same here.
But yeah, look at the riches India have as far as opening batsmen are concerned. You've got these names here: Rohit, Dhawan, Kohli, KL Rahul. Don't count out the other names. Mayank Agarwal is there, right?
Yeah.
You've got Ishan Kishan who can open. Prithvi Shaw is there. So you've got at least 6-7 players waiting for that top of the order slot. But okay, here's what I'm saying. I honestly think India's best pair is KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. They're the two best white ball players, T20 players. Virat Kohli fits into white ball cricket, all format cricket. But I think T20 cricket, there's no two better batsmen than Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. Going by the policy that the best batsmen have to get the most deliveries to play, they've got to open.
Absolutely, and it's not like the captain has done badly at number 3. The success that he's got at number 3 in T20 cricket has been phenomenal. Whatever people might talk about strike rates, etc., but that guy has single-handedly won T20 games for the country and in important moments in the T20 World Cup, in Asia Cups. So he's had so much success at number 3. He knows he can bat through the innings and get the team to win. So is there really a need for things to change when especially when you have such a destructive opener like a KL Rahul who can bat there at the top of the order? It's not like he has to be fitted in the middle order because he has to keep wickets. You already have Rishabh Pant who's there to bat in the middle order. So why mess around with KL Rahul's position when for me, he should be starting as an opener in T20 cricket for India, wherever we play, whichever format, whichever tournament. So I think we are...
Absolutely. If you look at the rankings also, I think KL Rahul is the only Indian batsman. We don't have it right now, I think. But if I recall correctly, KL Rahul is the only Indian batsman in the top 10 of the ICC T20I ranking. And go ask around the world over, Akhil, who's the most destructive white ball batsman? It is Rohit Sharma. Who's the most destructive or the most consistent run accumulator in T20 cricket? It's KL Rahul. Ask anybody. So I don't know where Virat Kohli and how Virat Kohli fits into the number 1 or 2. Virat Kohli at number 3 for me, if at all. Right? That's a question mark for me again. Because you've got Surya, Ishan, Kishan, you've got so many, Mayank, maybe not Mayank, but so many other names. But yeah, 1 and 2 is Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, whoever else the rest. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean it's little tough for Shikhar also because he's been phenomenal in both the IPL last 2 IPLs, which have normally been the process for picking the Indian team also. So the numbers have been good for him, but the overall numbers for India's T20 batsman Arun, the ones who are going to open in the T20 World Cup, from what we've heard from the management, clearly if we can have those numbers, the runs scored by the Indian T20 batsmen. Well, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma have strike rates which are phenomenal. These are like overall numbers for India in T20. So maybe these are the reasons you think that strike rate being so high?
I'll draw your attention to a couple of things here, Akhil. Look at Shikhar Dhawan's runs, 1,673. He's the 3rd highest run getter for India in all T20 internationals, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, but the strike rate's not. It's comparable to Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. It's 127, but in the last couple of years, he's done well in the IPL. But look at the last column against Shikhar Dhawan's name. The percentage of his runs scored by him in wins is 73.7%, second only to Rohit Sharma in that list. Right? So it tells you that if he's part of the team, right?
Yeah.
Good chance that he'll convert his runs into wins.
Yeah.
And that's what you want when you want world, when you're playing for global titles, you want somebody who can lead you to win. And that's where I don't know. I mean, I'm conflicted. While I want KL and Rohit Sharma to open, I think Shikhar Dhawan doesn't get his due for what he's done. I mean, he probably might not make it to the T20 team right now, the World Cup T20 team, but man, this guy's delivered. He's delivered the run, delivered for the result you want. And you got to recognize that way.
You're spot on with that. The way he's taken his batting level to another level in the last 2 IPLs, he's found a new gear, Arun. He's managed to take the onus of himself and score and be the dominant player for his team. So I really hope he's a part of the squad and eventually gets a couple of games, maybe whenever there's a possibility. But I mean,
that's asking for too much. Okay, that's really asking for too much. When India's got so much talent. I think it's asking for too much for Shikhar Dhawan to be included. I see where you're coming from, and I really respect that guy. I adore that guy for what he's done. But I think the World Cup team might just be out of his reach.
Very interesting. I'm really looking forward to this T20 series. A lot of permutations, a lot of combinations. The bowlers are the interesting ones that I'm really looking forward to watching from both the teams. So yeah, I mean, we'll be around here and we'll be watching more of T20 cricket. Looking forward to having more chats with you and chat more about T20 cricket. We'll talk more about details of T20 cricket as we head into the international T20 cricket, and then there's a World Cup to look forward to. So your stats are always nice to look at and start visualizing how teams are going to be planning their strategies. So we'll be back again here at Time Out with Sports Adda. Your call for the series before we head out.
2-1 again. If you recall what I said in the last show, I said if India make 4 or 5 changes, Sri Lanka win. That's what happened. But I'm calling it 2-1 to India.
I agree with you. 2-1 to India. I hope 1-1 and then third match is the decider one instead of being in a one-sided series. So 2-1 to India from both of us. See you soon.
Back soon.